She thought she knew you. She thought she had you figured out, your buttons, your patterns, your weaknesses, and maybe back then she did. Perhaps there was a version of you who over-explained, overgave, and waited around, hoping she'd return with clarity or closure. That version of you was emotional, predictable, and easy to manipulate. But that man no longer exists. Something shifted in the silence, in the pain, in the long nights when you faced yourself instead of chasing her. You stopped trying to fix what was broken. You ceased trying to understand her and began understanding yourself. In that stillness, in that brutal self-honesty, you changed. You became sharper, colder, and more focused. You didn't improve to impress her. You evolved to never need her again. Your words slowed down, your energy tightened. You no longer begged for attention. You redirected it toward your mission, your mind, your body, your legacy. And now, when she looks at you, if she's lucky enough to catch a glimpse, she doesn't see the man she left. She sees something unfamiliar, stoic, composed, and dangerous. You're not trying to make her feel anything, and that's what scares her the most. Your silence doesn't seek revenge, it speaks truth. The truth that she had access to a version of you that no longer exists. The man who would have done anything to keep her is gone. And what replaced him is a man so evolved that she doesn't even know how to approach him anymore. This is the version of you she can't predict, can't play, and most of all can't reach. If you're done staying the same for someone who left and are ready to become the version she never saw coming, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. She feared the man you became. Now let's begin. Number 1. You no longer react. She used to control the tempo. One look, one text, one vague post. You were still hers emotionally. Even after the breakup, even after the silence, because your reactions proved that she still mattered, but not anymore. Now, when she tests you, there's no response. She posts something baiting, and you don't buy. She hits you with a hope you're good message, and you leave her on read. You don't even block her, you just stop engaging. That stillness is what makes her panic. The man who used to be predictable, emotional, and easy to trigger is gone. You didn't stop reacting out of discipline. You stopped because you've outgrown it. You finally understood the price of emotional reactivity. It's your peace, your time, your power. Every time you reacted in the past, you gave her control. Now you hold the frame. You decide when, where, and if you respond. Most of the time you don't, because you've learned that the man who reacts is the one who's still attached. The man who responds with silence, he's already free. This evolution scares her, not because you're cruel, but because you're unreachable. For someone who used to read you like a book, that unreadability is maddening. It forces her to confront a new truth. She no longer has access to your emotional world. That door is closed, locked, and she's not holding the key anymore. You didn't get colder, you got clearer. You don't lash out. You don't argue, you just let go. That calm detachment hits her harder than 1,000 words ever could. Number 2, you don't explain yourself. There was a time when you couldn't help yourself. You over-explained everything. Why you were upset, why you reacted the way you did, what she meant to you, and what you meant when you said what you said. You thought clarity would save the connection. You thought being fully transparent would earn you respect, maybe even bring her back, but it didn't. Because in her eyes, every explanation was just another form of chasing. Another sign that she still held the upper hand. Now you don't explain anything. You say less, move smarter, and let your presence speak louder than your words ever could. That shift alone changes everything. Explanation comes from insecurity, from needing to be understood. But powerful men don't explain. They choose. They decide what deserves their words, what deserves their attention. And most of the time, it's nothing. She'll notice the shift. You're no longer justifying why you didn't reply. You're not clarifying why you walked away. You're not giving her closure. That's not your job anymore. Your growth no longer needs to be explained to people who didn't stay long enough to witness it. That silence, that lack of explanation, burns because now she has to live with uncertainty. She has to guess, wonder, and replay every moment. She doesn't get the final chapter. She doesn't get to clean up the ending. The power she thought she had disappeared the moment you stopped handing her emotional commentary. You're not hiding, you're just done performing. That stillness, that silence, says everything she needs to hear without you saying a word. Number 3, you're focused like a threat. There was a time when she was the center of your world. Every decision, every mood, every moment was affected by what she said, what she did, and how she felt. You were distracted, constantly chasing emotional validation, constantly wrapped up in trying to fix something that never wanted to be fixed. That energy cost you time, progress, and power. Now that version of you is gone. You're locked in, dialed up, cold and focused like a threat. Not because you're trying to impress her, but because you finally redirected all that wasted energy into your evolution. Your grind replaced your grief. Your goals replaced your obsession. It shows in how you move, how you speak, and how you walk into a room without saying a word. She sees it. Whether she admits it or not, she feels the shift. You're not posting for attention. You're not flexing for her reaction. You're just building every day, quietly and relentlessly, with that calm, dangerous discipline that can't be faked. Here's what makes it terrifying for her. You're not using your success to win her back. You're using it to ensure she never gets access to you again. Your energy has become a fortress, and she's no longer inside. Now she's on the outside, looking in, watching you become the man she never believed you could be without her. This isn't a glow-up for revenge. This is a reinvention for you, because nothing is scarier to someone who left than watching you become everything they didn't think you could be while staying absolutely silent. Number 4, your eyes say nothing now. She used to know what you were feeling without you saying a word. All it took was a glance. Your eyes used to speak volumes full of tension, questions, pain, and hope. You looked at her like she was the answer to everything. And she felt powerful because of it. Because she could still see that spark in your eyes, that flicker that told her she still had a grip on your soul. But now your eyes are still calm and cold. They say nothing. That silence behind your stare is what shakes her. You don't look at her the same. Not because you're trying to hurt her, but because you don't see her the same. She's no longer the one you're chasing. You're not looking for closure. You're not looking for anything. You see her, but you don't feel her. The emotional weight she used to carry in your life is gone, and that void in your gaze hits harder than any words could. She tries to read you, searching your eyes for a crack in the armor. But all she finds is stillness, not numbness, but discipline. You've trained yourself to no longer seek answers in someone who walked away. You've built emotional control so deep that even your eyes are locked in. That's when she realizes you didn't just move on, you outgrew her reach. The man who once looked at her like she mattered more than himself no longer exists. Number 5, you own the room without trying. There was a time when you blended in. You moved with hesitation. You walked into rooms, hoping to be noticed. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're just fully in control of yourself. You carry yourself like someone who knows exactly who he is and needs nothing from anyone. That calm confidence doesn't scream, doesn't beg, it just exists. People notice, especially her, because she remembers a different version of you, the one who needed approval, the one who felt small in his own skin. But now you take up space, not physically but energetically. The room bends to you, not because you force it, but because you've built something within yourself that can't be ignored. Self-respect, discipline, presence. Here's the part she never saw coming. You're not doing any of this to get her attention. You're not proving a point. You're not flexing. You're simply being. That authenticity, that realness commands more respect than any performance ever could. She watches you from across the room and realizes you're not the same. You're not chasing anyone. You're not trying to be seen. You are the presence people feel. The scariest part: she's no longer part of your world. She's just witnessing it like everyone else. Number 6. You stopped asking for closure. You used to replay it in your head over and over. What went wrong, what you could have said, what she really meant. You wanted closure. You needed it. Some kind of explanation, some kind of ending that made it all make sense. You thought if you could just have one last conversation, it would give you peace. But all it ever did was keep you stuck. Now you've stopped asking. You stopped waiting for clarity from someone who chose confusion. You stopped needing answers from a person who was never honest with you in the first place. In that decision, you found your freedom. Real closure doesn't come from her. It comes from you. The moment you decided to move forward without her permission, you took all your power back. She doesn't know what to do with that because she was prepared for questions, for emotional conversations, for unfinished feelings. But she wasn't prepared for silence. She wasn't prepared for the man who didn't come back looking for closure because he didn't need it. And that scares her because now she has to sit with what she did. Unlike you, she doesn't get closure either. You're not angry. You're not chasing explanations. You simply understand that some chapters don't need a clean ending. They just need to stay closed. You found peace by choosing yourself. That kind of peace, she can feel it even from a distance. Number 7, you make her feel replaceable. She used to feel untouchable, like no matter what happened, you'd always see her as the one. She believed there was no one else like her, no one who could take her place in your life. For a while, she was right. You made her feel special, chosen, and safe. She had a place in your world and she knew it. But now that illusion is gone, you've moved differently, quieter, stronger, and without ever saying it, you've shown her the truth. She's replaceable. You didn't do it out of revenge. You did it by leveling up, by surrounding yourself with peace, ambition, and options. You stopped clinging to someone who let go. You stopped believing she was the prize and became the one who gets to choose. Now she's not watching you fall apart. She's watching you rise. She sees your new energy, and it doesn't orbit around her anymore. She's no longer the center of your attention. She's no longer the standard. Now she's one of many watching you from a distance, wondering if she even stands out. That insecurity is new for her, and it cuts deep, because for the first time she feels what you felt. Replaced. You didn't need to say it. You didn't need to throw it in her face. Your life said it for you. She sees you moving, growing, evolving, and she knows you didn't just heal, you upgraded. Number 8, you don't look back. There was a time when you kept the door cracked open just in case. You watched her stories, stayed connected through mutual friends, and left the past on pause instead of deleting it. A part of you was still hoping for a sign, for a change, for a reason to turn around. But all that did was keep you stuck in limbo between who you were and who you were supposed to become. Now the door's not just closed, it's locked. You don't look back, not at her posts, not at her past, not at what could have been. You've realized that looking back is how you lose your edge, how you lose momentum, because every time you turn around to chase the past, you slow down the future. So you stopped cold. Not because you hate her, but because you love your peace more. That silence behind you echoes. She notices. She can feel that you've stopped orbiting, that you've detached in a way that's final. She expected you to revisit, to reach out, to drop breadcrumbs of the old version of you. But none of that's coming because you've made peace with the fact that not everything broken needs to be fixed. Some things need to be left behind. You're moving with direction now, with purpose, with presence. And you're not wasting another step retracing your old ones. She's in the rear view. When you finally stop checking if she's still behind you, that's when you fully arrive. Number 9. She can't read you anymore. She used to know exactly what you were thinking. She could read your tone, your timing, your moods. You were an open book and she read every page. That gave her the edge, the ability to predict you, control the tempo, and stay one step ahead. But now she has no idea what's going on inside your head, and that uncertainty is eating her alive. Mystery makes people uncomfortable, especially those who once had total access. Now you move differently. You don't post emotionally. You don't overshare. You don't react in patterns. You're hard to read, hard to predict, hard to reach. You became the exact thing she never expected. Unavailable, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. You say less, show less, reveal less. You keep your next move to yourself. That unpredictability is a power most men never unlock. It forces her to wonder, to overthink, to realize she no longer has the keys to your inner world. When a woman loses access to a man's mind, she loses control of the narrative. She checks for signs, looks for cracks, anything to give her a sense of control again. But your energy is locked down, disciplined and calm. You've become unreadable. That makes you unforgettable because now, instead of managing your emotions, she's haunted by your silence. You didn't become distant. You became unavailable by design. That shift is what turns men into legends in the minds of those who lost them. Number 10. You've outgrown her. She thought she left you behind, that you'd stay stuck, frozen in time, waiting for her to come back around. She thought you'd be the same man. Easy to reach, easy to stir, easy to pull back into her orbit. But now she sees the truth. You didn't just move on, you leveled up. And not just a little. You've outgrown her completely. You're no longer operating on the same frequency. The conversations that once drained you, you don't even entertain them now. The emotional roller coasters she used to take you on, you wouldn't step on that ride if she begged. The things you used to tolerate, the way you used to chase, the way you used to need her, it's all gone. Because growth isn't just about improvement. It's about elevation, and you've elevated past her reach. She sees it in how you move, how you speak, and who you surround yourself with. You're not the same emotionally reactive man she once had access to. You're decisive, calm, centered, and the scariest part for her, you don't want her anymore. Not out of spite, but out of evolution. The man you are today has different standards, different goals, and different energy. The role she once played doesn't exist in your world anymore. You're not bitter. You're just gone, grown, grounded, and focused forward. She'll have to live with the truth that the best version of you was never meant for her. She didn't expect you to grow. She expected you to pause, to freeze in time while she moved on. But you didn't just move forward, you transformed. You became the man she never thought you'd be. Focused, disciplined, stoic, silent. And now she watches from a distance, realizing too late that you're not coming back. You didn't evolve to prove anything to her. You evolved because staying the same would have been a betrayal to yourself. You outgrew the need to be chosen. You stopped explaining, stopped chasing, and stopped reacting. That shift wasn't loud. It was lethal. She'll never forget the version of you she once knew. But what haunts her more is the man you became after she left.